Is Pokemon's newest set, Stellar Crown, a hit or a miss? To answer that, today we're going to be taking a look at the Japanese version of the set, Stellar Miracle, which just released on July 19th. We'll be taking a look at a variety of cards such as illustration rares, special illustration rares, and full RDXs. Does Stellar Crown have the potential to be one of the best sets in the Scarlet and Violet era, or just another set to skip? Let's get into that today. Now before we get started, I would just like to take a second to say thank you guys so much for the amazing support you have shown this channel in the last month. You guys have helped this channel grow tremendously, and I never would have thought we would be here in just a month of the channel starting. To show my appreciation, I would like to do another giveaway by giving away the CGC10 Japanese EV Art Rare from Crimson Haze. This was by far the most popular card that you guys mentioned in the giveaway video, and I knew I just had to get a copy to give to one of you guys. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what card you're most excited for from Stellar Crown. As for last week's giveaway, with the prize being the PSA 8 Gengar Trainer Gallery from Lost Origin, I would like to congratulate Richard Ross on winning. Richard, when you see this, check my video description for my email and reach out to me to claim your prize. Now let's go ahead and talk about Stellar Crown and its size as a set. As you can see here on the first bullet, you'll see that it's over 170 cards, including all the secret rares. It includes 3 A-Specs, 10 Pokemon EX, and 4 Stellar Terra EX, 13 illustration rares, 6 special illustration rares, and 3 hyper rare gold cards. There are also 4 full art Pokemon EX, 4 additional Terra type EX full art Pokemon, and 4 full art trainer cards. Now this is actually one of the smaller sets that we've gotten recently. It actually has less illustration rares than Shrouded Fable, which is coming out soon, which has 15 illustration rares. It does, however, have more special illustration rares than Shrouded Fable, where Shrouded Fable has 5 illustration rares, where this one has 1 additional. A new type of card that is coming to Stellar Crown are the Stellar type EX Pokemon. This is similar to the Terra type EX, rather than their crown will have every typing above it. So there's a lot of colors going on. It's a very flashy look. I wasn't really too sure how I felt about it before, but it is starting to grow on me now that I've seen some of the cards that are going to be released soon. So these here are the first 6 illustration rares that we'll be getting in Stellar Crown. These came right from Stellar Miracle, hence why they're in Japanese. I have their names in order here, going top row to bottom row. Number 1 being the Milcery in the top left, the Lileep in the top middle, the Gulpin in the top right, the Zeraora, one of my favorite cards, in the bottom left, the Ledian in the bottom middle, and the Meditite in the bottom right. As you can see here with this set, they have chosen to have some Pokemon illustration rares have very similar themes, as you'll also see on the next page. If you look at the Milcery and Lileep, you will see that they have a very similar pink coloration going on to the card. The Milcery and the Gulpin also have a food theme to them. You will see these kinds of connections throughout the set. I personally love every single illustration rare on this set. I really don't think there's any bad ones here. This is looking a lot like Shrouded Fable, where the illustration rares were just super strong. I'll be interested to see what their values are like. Since there are so few illustration rares in the set, they should be relatively easy to pull compared to other sets like Paldea Evolved and Paradox Rift. Moving on to the bottom left card, we have the Zeraora Full Art, which is one of my absolute favorite cards in this set. Zeraora is one of my favorite Pokemon. I absolutely love the alt art Zeraora cards coming out of Crown Zenith, the Zeraora VMAX and the Zeraora V-Star. They've really done a good job with all these cards. I really love the action shot that we get out of this card. Not a lot of cards where you really see a lot of energy coming through and looks like they're getting ready to do an attack. This is a really cool card and going to be an awesome addition to my Zeraora page. Moving on to the Ledian, I really like that they kind of included, you can see the rainbowish foiling on this illustration rare. Ledian is a pretty older gen Pokemon, so I think that this card will do pretty well. I'm sure a lot of people who grew up on these Pokemon like myself are really going to be excited about this card, and really this is just another strong card. I really have absolutely no complaints with any of these illustration rares so far. And even looking at the Meditite, though not my favorite in the set, it is another really strong card in my opinion, another older generation Pokemon. A cool aspect about this card is you get the full landscape behind it. You can see the river flowing through, you can see this entire jungle type theme going on, and even a little Pokemon cameo. I believe that's a Chowtot, but I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if that's a different Pokemon. Now moving on to the second page, again you will see some very similar themes here. You'll have a snowy theme, we have the Joltik, the action lightning shot that went really well with the Zeraora from the last page, and then these bottom 3 cards honestly have just very similar color palette, especially the 2 on the bottom left and the bottom middle. So starting in order, we have the Reboot in the top left, the Crabominable in the top middle, the Joltik in the top right, the Turtonator in the bottom left, the Archaludon in the bottom middle, and then we have the Noctile in the bottom right. Now before we talk about the rest of the cards, I want to say that the Noctile illustration rare is going to be a promo for Stellar Crown. while it is a Japanese art rare that you can actually pull in Stellar Miracle, this will be the promo that's cut out for the Elite Trainer boxes. So if you order in a normal Elite Trainer box, you'll get this card, and if you order the Pokemon Center ETBs, you will get a normal one along with a Pokemon Center stamped version of the Noctowl. I've seen a couple people pull this on live streams, and it really does look cool. I'm personally very excited for this card, and at a minimum, I will be buying a normal Elite Trainer box. Now, looking at the top left, you'll see the Reboot illustration rare. In my opinion, this is going to be one of the top chase illustration rares in the set. Cinderace has always been a very popular evolution line, and I could really see this card doing well. I've seen some other opinions that think that maybe the Snowball theme doesn't really go well since Reboot is a Fire-type Pokemon, but honestly, I think with the red outfit of the Reboot with the white background, it adds some cool contrast, and I could totally imagine Reboot kicking a snowball in somebody's face. Moving on to the Crabominable, honestly, this is probably one of my least favorite cards. I don't think it's a bad card. I think the problem with this card is that there's just so much white going on that the card really gets flushed out, and there's just not enough to look at. Because of how washed out the card is with the same coloration, it's kind of hard to really enjoy this card. Personally, for me, I understand the story. They're trying to show some kind of a blizzard going on, and the Crabominable is just kind of, just chilling in there. But from an artwork perspective, it's just personally not my favorite card. But looking at the Joltik, this one, again, similar to the Zeraora, I think is a very cool card. I'm really enjoying these action shots where you're really seeing them using a move, especially with this electricity theme going on. I really hope in the future we get a Pikachu illustration rare or special illustration rare with the same kind of vibe going on. Like I've said before, I like this card more than the Joltik illustration rare from Paradox Rift, which if you didn't know, this is the only time we've ever had a Pokemon get 2 illustration rares in the Scarlet and Violet era. Now moving on to the Turtonator, this is actually a Pokemon that I kind of forgot about, to be honest, but looking at the artwork, I really did enjoy it. Again, I'm a fan of contrasting colors. I like the red of the Turtonator with the greens coming out. If you look towards the right side of the card, you'll see the mountainous background that it's living in. It's actually a little detail that I didn't really notice before since it's so kind of overshadowed with everything else that's in your face. But honestly, this is a really cool card. You can see the rainy vibes with the puddle down below. I think it's a strong card. Definitely not the strongest, but it's definitely better than the Crabominable in my opinion. Another card that I personally really enjoy is this Archelodon illustration rare. I really like the cartoony look to this card. It's just a really happy, enjoyable card, just like kind of a feel good. It kind of reminds me of the Probopass illustration rare from Temporal Forces. I don't know what it is about it, just gives me a happy feeling when I look at it. It seems like everybody's happy to see that Pokemon. It just gives off a really good vibe. And again, here is the Noctowl illustration rare, which will be cut as a promo in our Elite Trainer boxes. Now you will notice here that I have shown 12 cards, and one of them is actually cut as a promo, while earlier I said there are going to be 13 illustration rares. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, that only leaves 11 illustration rares. Where are the other 2? Well, do I have some good news for you. It was just revealed that the 2 remaining illustration rares are going to be the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur illustration rares that will go along with the Charmander promo from Obsidian Flames. I personally am really excited about this, and I think these will easily be the highlights of the set and the biggest chase illustration rares. For those who don't know, in Japan they released a special promo box called the Special EX Deck Box, which came with all 3 promos, the Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. Here in the US, however, we only got the Charmander promo in the Obsidian Flames Elite Trainer box, and a lot of people have been wondering when or how we were going to get these promos. It turns out, however, they're not going to be promos, and we're going to get them as illustration rares in Stellar Crowns. So we are going to have to pull these cards if we would like to add them to our collection. I think this makes it really fun and adds a really nice touch to Stellar Crown. For all the people out there that I saw comment that they loved the Charmander promo in our giveaway video 2 videos ago, I have a feeling you're going to be really excited about this news. Now the next few cards I'd like to talk about are the Pokemon special illustration rares, which I'm really excited to talk about. We have 4 in this set. We have the Doxbun, the Hydrapple, the Galvantula, and the Terapagos. Personally, my absolute favorite is the Terapagos, but they have done so well with all 4 of these special illustration rares that I don't even know where to begin. Looking from left to right, starting with the Doxbun, I know this card is my wife's absolute chase Pokemon special illustration rare. This card, again, another food theme going on here with the set, where we had the Milcery and the Gulpin illustration rares also showing this food theme with the pastries and the desserts and the cake. We're seeing the same thing here with the Doxbun, with the pies and all the dessert and the cinnamon rolls. I really think this card is going to look amazing in person. I've seen a few people pull it on stream, and the card just looks absolutely amazing. In my opinion, I think this is going to be the number 2 big chase in the set. In my opinion, I think this is going to be the second best special illustration rare Pokemon, right behind the Terapagos, but I'll get into that in a minute. But the next card is the Hydrapple special illustration rare. I'll be curious to see what you guys think about this. It is definitely not my favorite of the 4. It's probably number 4 on the list, but I do think it's fair that they decided to go ahead with a special illustration rare of Hydrapple, given we got the Applin and the Dipplin illustration rares from Twilight Masquerade. Maybe they should have done a Hydrapple special illustration rare in Twilight Masquerade, considering the 2 illustration rares were in that set, but for whatever reason they decided to wait all the way up till September when we get Stellar Crown. So It is what it is. I'll be curious to see what you guys think about this card. I personally was not too excited when I saw this card release. I've seen a couple people pull this card in live streams, and just seeing the light hit the card, I'm starting to have a change of heart on whether or not I like this card. I think it really will be a pretty cool card to have. Now moving on to the Stellar type special illustration rares, before we talk about the Galvantula, I would like to point out the rainbow coloration on the edges of the card. This is going to be something that we're going to be getting in the next couple sets that have Stellar type Pokemon. The Galvantula and the Terrapagos both have this rainbow rare type border, which is really interesting with the special illustration rare, and they'll still have that Terra texturing on the border as well. So you have that Terra bordering that you saw on the Greninja, along with some rainbow coloration on the edges, which is, I think, a really nice touch. The Galvantula, like the Joltik, has an action type move to it. It's got the electricity flowing, it's getting ready to do a move. Very cool, energetic card, no pun intended. Between the Terrapagos and the Galvantula, it's not my favorite, but I do think it's an interesting card. We'll talk a little bit later about two other Pokemon EXs that could have potentially taken this special illustration rare spot, and I'll be curious to see your opinion on whether or not you are happy with this Galvantula or the other two Pokemon that it could have been. Now, the last Pokemon special illustration rare, which is my absolute chase card, is the Terrapagos special illustration rare. This card is just gorgeous to me. I love the mosaic style of the waves and the background, along with the terrestrialization going all the way around, and the colors of the crystals as they come around the Terrapagos. Frankly, when I heard about this set initially, and I did my research on the Stellar type Pokemon, I wasn't too interested in this concept of these big crowns with all these gems around it. I was kind of wondering to myself, how are they going to be able to make artworks that people really care about with this kind of stuff going on? One of the biggest critiques with the Greninja special illustration rare is just how much it has going on. Now, however, the card is doing tremendously well, which is starting to show that people are starting to really show their appreciation for the Scarlet and Violet era and everything it has to offer, given the Terra types and the potential Stellar types. But this card really changed my mind on Stellar types and really solidified my opinion that it really has the potential for some absolutely amazing artworks. I really hope I pull this card soon. I plan on opening a few Stellar Miracle booster boxes as well, so hopefully I pull the Japanese version, but I assume that it's really difficult to pull, so we will see. But looking at the full set here, I would say that the Pokemon special illustration rares are in general a hit. I would say all four of them are pretty strong as a set, and I'll be curious to see your opinion if you think that the special illustration rares would have been a little bit better if the Galvantula was something different. Now we're going to talk about the two trainer special illustration rares, the Lacey and the Briar. Both of these are pretty strong special illustration rares in my opinion. I personally like the Lacey a lot more. One of the things that I really like about this SIR is that it also included the Crispin trainer, which is a full art trainer in the set as well. I really like the vibe that's going on with the Lacey. There's honestly just so much going on with Crispin making the food. You can see the charts in the bottom right, some kind of science or math going on. There's actually a couple people in the top right that you can't really tell who they are. And Lacey is of course doing her signature X motion that she does in the games, and kind of gives me some Iono vibes from Paldea Evolved. Maybe it's just because she has pink hair like the Iono does, but for some reason it reminisces me of that Iono card. And the second SIR trainer is the Briar. When the first pictures came out of this card, I wasn't sure how to feel about it because the pictures are pretty low quality. It was just from maybe somebody's stream, somebody had screenshotted it and posted it online. But now that we can see some full arts, I'm starting to see the potential with this card. I'm sure when you see that card in person, the gem is going to have some real cool shine to it. It's going to make the card really interesting. And similar to a lot of the other trainer cards, I have a feeling they're going to put foiling in the eye of Briar to really add that reflection while she's looking in the gem. If they do something like that, I think the artwork has some potential. Between the two trainers, I would for sure pick the Lacey. The Briar actually reminds me a lot of the Tulip special illustration rare from Paradox Rift. Just a very similar color scheme going on to me. But this is one of those cards I'm really going to want to see in person to see if I like it or not. Now the last thing I would like to talk about are the other two Stellar type full art Pokemon in this set, being the Cinderace and the Lapras. Unfortunately, these cards were not cut as special illustration rares, and I know a lot of people are frustrated, and I'm curious to see what your thoughts are too. The Terrapagos was released a while back, and I think a lot of people were pretty happy with that card as a Stellar type SIR, but we knew the last three could potentially be the Galvantula, the Cinderace, or the Lapras, since those cards were revealed a little bit earlier. But unfortunately, in my opinion, Pokemon took the direction to go with the Galvantula. Now, while it is a cool card, I really would have liked to have seen a special illustration rare Cinderace or Lapras. Lapras has seen a trainer gallery recently in Crown Zenith, but Cinderace has never had an illustration rare, a trainer gallery, a special illustration rare, nothing like that in Pokemon history, and I was really hoping that they would go in that direction, especially since they already paid tribute to the DLC with the Terrapagos Stellar type, so I was really hoping that they would add a classic type Pokemon to the Stellar list, but unfortunately that's just not the direction that Pokemon chose. Hopefully in the future they will include some special illustration rare or alternate artwork of the Cinderace or Lapras, but it just does not look like we're getting it right now. I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. Do you think the Galvantula is still a hit in this set, or would you rather seen one of these two cards get a special illustration rare? Alright everybody, and that's the rest of the cards. In general, I would say that this set has the potential to be a big hit. I don't know if it's going to be Twilight Masquerade level, given it has the Greninja, the Carmine, and a lot of other illustration rares that are very, very popular like the Eevee, but there are some factors that could change that, especially the pull rates for the illustration rares and special illustration rares. We have seen some changes recently with Temporal Forces and Twilight Masquerade. I'll be curious to see if they change the SIR pull rates for Stellar Crown. If they made these cards even harder to pull than the 1 in 86 that we're seeing in the recent sets for SIRs, it could potentially shift how these cards are valued. The Terapagos and the Darkspawn SIRs are absolutely amazing cards in my opinion. The Hydrapple and the Galvantula a little bit lower on that list, but certainly not bad cards. So I don't think this set is a miss, and I definitely don't think it's a filler set like the set Shrouded Fable, which comes out in August, which in my opinion is a miss because of the special illustration rares. Also, Stellar Crown has so many amazing illustration rares. We're going to be getting the Bulbasaur, the Squirtle, the Raboot, the Zeraora, the Lileep, and so many other illustration rares that are just really strong. It seems lately that the illustration rares have been a lot stronger in the sets than the SIRs. Maybe not for Stellar Crown, but this set and Shrouded Fable have some really, really strong IRs that we really have not seen in a lot of the other sets. Some of the older sets would maybe have 2 or 3 IRs that were really worth collecting. These sets are lately having so many fantastic illustration rares that it really does elevate the level of the set. Now, this set actually has one of the least amount of illustration rares in all of the Scarlet and Violet era, almost as few as Obsidian Flames, but they really are strong cards, so I think it'll help elevate the set as a whole. Alright everybody, that's going to be it for me today. If you haven't entered the giveaway yet, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what card from Stellar Crown you are most excited for. Alright everybody, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you on the next one.